Hello, hello. Is it?
Hello, hello, hello. It
Oh,
is.
happy. It's June Sueño.
I got it's June Sueño, and my streamer mode is not working.
Is it not?
Let me, because I keep turning it off. Because am I like stupid? Why is it on? Automatic. Is it on now? Is it on now? No.
My
Oh,
dad
it's
just
failed
sent me
me.
another Facebook reel. Why does my dad send me Facebook reels like of
I don't know how to
these
respond when my parents send me a Facebook post.
information? This information could change the trajectory of your life. Uh. Oh yeah, Dad. What is it gonna tell me to eat my veggies? To sleep on time?
All
I'm an
right,
adult now. I'm gonna sleep in my own way.
let's go. So
Alright.
somebody's got to die. I named the stream title today. What did I name it? Okay, time's up. Get back to killing because nothing has happened in quite a while.
So it's obvious. Okay, they already raised the death flags on Ava and her husband. And George was not there, so he's gonna. So they're fucking dead.
Wait,
Case closed. They died.
do I have your no? Okay, whoops. I didn't have your volume up enough. There we go. All right. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. It had begun to feel like a discussion on the case was itself taboo. But no one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those thoughts were what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled. Feels like the rain's gone a little lighter.
Still pouring down.
Oh, I hope nobody dies because it's 1 a.m. So it's going to be hard to voice without like being too loud.
Yeah, sorry, chat. I had a long day.
Yeah.
I still think Doki Doki Literature Club is not that good of a
I don't think it's good either. But, you know, no hate to the creator because he made Rivals of Aether, I think. No, that's the wrong guy. He made was it Project something with the net play, right? I think he made Project he did
I
something
think
Smash Bros related.
Atono was better. The game that inspired Doki Doki Literature Club. I think that was just it felt better in my opinion. But that's just an opinion.
Project
So
M, that's what I'm thinking of. The Doki Doki guy made a Smash mod. That's really fun. Shout out to him.
I like Smash Bros, but I didn't like Doki Doki. Thing is, I'm a visual novel guy.
Yeah, we're the visual novel guy.
We're the visual.
I will finish Little Busters because I've been playing it at least like an hour or so a day ish.
I will finish playing. Well, Sayonara Oshiete. Sayonara Oshiete. It's just this guy. It's just like some parts are kind of like too like I just don't like the way like
Umi.
no, not like too umi. It's just like the way the game is like um formatted is like you can go to different areas,
Mm-hmm.
and when you go to different areas you can talk to people, but sometimes you have to, in order to get all the content from the game, you have to replay the game, and then it's like there's no skip red text button, so then
Wow,
you gotta like skip through a lot of text just to get new
that's
content that doesn't really
fucked.
matter. And then like all the routes you can do, I feel like it's just really worth doing like one of the routes, because like really you don't get much content. You
Hmm.
get like the same amount of content from all of it. But the game's cool because the main character's low-key kind of deranged, and that's fun. That's always fun to read. I like it when the characters go low-key cuckoo, because it's like Wow, he's me for real. Ugh.
仮にやんだって
Even if it did
この
stop,
島には
there's
船が
no
ねえん
boat
だぜ
on this island.
船が
But
明日す
it'd
ぐに来て
be
くれりゃ
nice
い
if
い
the
んだ
boat
が
came
よ
quickly tomorrow.
洋館バカンスはもうお腹いっ
I've
ぱ
had
いだ
enough
ぜ
of this Western mansion vacation. I feel like it's easier to voice his voice higher pitched than the lower pitched voice I was giving him.
Yeah, I think the higher pitch suits him more.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Mom,
Rumblies.
Mom, when will the boat come tomorrow? What the fuck are you saying?
Sorry. Normally, Normally, the boat to take them back would arrive today. At 3 today. They probably sent us a phone call to say that they would come after the typhoon passed. But unfortunately, the boats aren't working. They are children over there. They would be told to go drop off and collect our guests. So they will most likely arrive first thing tomorrow morning. Probably at 9, I believe.
It was completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized that it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry.
Oh, my tummy making the grumbly.
In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking
That
enthusiastically.
made me lose my blood blast.
My tummy rumbled.
Tummy rumbled so badly.
They had laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of Goto-san's artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, who was trying to enliven everyone's low spirits with some food. He wasn't nearly as talented as a... We said it in a more fancy way, and then we said it in a fucking simplified way.
I fucked up my blood blast today with gonna
On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was sometimes highly praised. That's why she's always talking about that mackerel. Kanon arranged the food Kumasawa had finished creating on plates under her direction. Kanon also helped in the kitchen sometime, but since he was rarely placed in that role, he was slightly awkward, and even then, he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't cleverly arrange the food, Kanon's expression darkened slightly. But Kumasawa smiled and thought everything was fine. Oh, it's beautifully arranged. Kanon-kun, aren't you skilled?
If it was Shannon-san, it would look even more beautiful.
It would have been on the floor and dropped.
It would have been on the floor.
Kanon stopped.
Of dust.
Stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Kanon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Kanon was doing it instead. And as he remembered Shannon's face in her brutal end, he grimaced. A grimace shake. Forget that for now. Genji spoke quite kindly to Kanon as he advanced the pawn. They're playing chess. All they ever do.
Chess, you flip the keyboard around. The chessboard.
Oh, the chessboard. Battler fucking runs into the room. Oh, a chessboard. And he flips it around.
Yes, I love chess.
He's like, hey guys, can I borrow this for a sec? And he's just gonna keep it on him for like the rest of the fucking story. Just so he can spin it every time he says it. The little fidget spinner. Guys, you just gotta flip the chessboard around like this.
Wait, look! Hey mom, look at this! Hey mom, look at this! And then he just flips the chessboard around. It's like, you know those kids that like don't like learn like when's a good time to bother your parents. So like,
oh yeah, every kid.
Yeah, so it's just like, hey mom. It's like, what, sweetie? It's like, look, I'm gonna spin the chessboard around.
Battler, this is the 10th time you said this in the past hour.
Yeah, look at the chessboard.
Genji spoke kindly to Kanon as he advanced upon. Nanjo had escaped from the parlor once the mood had grown sour, and Genji had become his opponent in the game of chess upon Nanjo's request.
Yes. I won't.
Okay.
I won't forget
I thought that was your line.
No, it's really hard for me to switch voices when I go. Do you like a chess voice? Because the chess voice ends up sounding very artificial.
Indeed. I don't even know if I don't know how to talk from the chest.
You probably already are because you
Am
have.
I? I feel like I'm talking from the mouth.
It's kind of crazy to say that.
Where else can you
You know,
talk from if not
well, it's like whether head voice. It's like in
Ed?
vibrations. That's more of a chess voice.
Hmm. I don't. Is
Like,
this my line or is this your
listen,
line?
this is the same pitch, but this is like chess voice. Head voice. Head voice.
I think this is your line. It's just your name was missing.
Indeed. That is probably for the best.
Genji purposely refrained from facing Kanon as he spoke. He did so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Kanon if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. I don't know. The name disappeared because I accidentally fast forwarded. Anjo also understood that and held back any thoughtless words. I
They
wonder.
can't keep saying shit, right?
Huh?
They can't just keep saying shit, right? We're like, I feel like the scene's already starting off to be unnecessary.
I wonder where Kinzo-san has gone. I hope that he is safe, but I do not know. However, I believe everything has proceeded as the master had hoped and arranged for. To the trust that would exceed my role as furniture in service of mastery. Kinzo wanted all of us to die. Aren't you scared, My fucking voice. I am frightened that something bad will occur tonight. I have nothing to be afraid of. I serve the Ushiromiya family and that is all. Anjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move.
Well,
I thought you were fucking coughing. Nanjo was slightly dubious. Could Genji possibly be thinking that he'd been left out of this? He couldn't even imagine what was happening inside this mansion, but he definitely couldn't deny the possibility that Kinzo had devised something.
I wonder what he devised. Oh, it's like chess. Oh, let's flip the chessboard. Oh my god. What is this elaborate allegory now with chess?
Are chessboards rectangular? I thought they were square.
I also thought they were square. Wait, no, it can't be, right? How many spaces are in each side?
Hey Siri,
4, 5,
how many
6, 7.
spaces are in a chessboard?
Wait, this chessboard's 8 by 8, so yeah.
64.
Wouldn't it be
Maybe it's just
square?
drawn weirdly. Yeah, it is just drawn weirdly. Okay. It looked rectangular for a second. If you liken this to chess, Kinzo had opened the game, and as a result, 6 pieces had been defeated. Oh, they're continuing it. They've been carrying it?
Remember your math, you do math.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like,
but like, there's a length to it though.
I'm gonna shove this flashlight up my ass.
Could it be that Genji was calm because he believed he alone was on the outside of the chessboard and therefore safe? Anjo thought about it. Isn't everyone just a piece on the chessboard lined up equally without any exceptions? Wasn't even Genji, who had gained more of Kinzo's trust than anyone, no, who was confident of his position as Kinzo's only close friend, just another one of the pieces laid out on the chessboard?
He just said that earlier, but they wanted to use the chess allegory so bad they put it back in.
Genji-san, I am truly frightened about tonight. I hope with all my heart that we will still be safe when tomorrow morning comes.
Ho 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 ho.
Oh ho ho.
That's- Ho ho ho. That was so interesting.
The guest room Eva and Hideyoshi moved into had originally been built to house guests before the guest house's construction. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in these rooms every family conference and were very familiar with them. This room was just like a room in a hotel with a bedroom and a bathroom. So even though we were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than the parlor. I guess it's true that you can relax when you're alone with your family. Maybe it'd be better if everyone else also shut themselves in their guest rooms and locked the doors.
Natsune-san said that no one could even leave the parlor, throwing her weight around. I'm sure that no one would be able to talk back. She's always been treated so coldly, and now that Nissan's dead, she's getting excited about finally having so much power.
She's always been treated coldly. Coldly, I wonder by who. Bro talks like it's not fucking her fault.
Seriously, how shameless can she be?
Oh, come on now, don't say that. Natsuhi-san's doing pretty well. No need to jump on her like that. About that receipt earlier, you went too far.
Come on.
A new expression.
No, she had that expression earlier. I just think it looks goofy as hell because the way she's smiling.
Yeah, like she's like,
she looks
like teehee.
If I hadn't said it there wouldn't be another good time to say it.
Ava sulking cutely. That was a cute expression. Looking at the television.
It was kind of uncanny.
Sat along Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed.
Alright, narrate faster. I'm tired of this. I need them to die now. So,
Therefore, you want them to die right now.
Therefore, the money! They needed the money right now! Still, we haven't been alone like this for quite some time.
You're right. Come to think of it, both you and I have gotten pretty old. Since George was born, everything has gone by in the blink of an eye.
You know what's funny is that like all like the women look just young and like teenagers, and then like all like the like the middle-aged men just look like middle-aged men, and then like the only old woman you see is like the fucking grandma.
Rue.
Like I thought like Maria's mom was literally like a teenager. I thought that was her sister because she just looks so young. But that was not it. It really has. I wonder if we were too hasty in having a child. She's not moaning anymore. That's cool.
Wow. It's character development. She stopped being a bitch.
She stopped moaning each word, so I have to stop moaning each word.
Ava's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yes, she had thought of it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance.
Oh, when George was burned, my big belly was so round.
Okay. Her older brother Cross had been unable to father a child for quite some time. 6 years passed after his marriage to Natsuhi without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. Ava herself thought that since her name would be moved outside of the Ushirimiya register when she got married anyway, it didn't matter whether a successor to the headship was born or not. And then one day, she had a heavenly revelation. Or maybe it was the whispering of the devil that she had listened to in her greed. If she could give birth to the successor first, wouldn't she be able to remain in the Ushirimiya registry? Things went well. Might she have a chance to inherit the Ushirimiya family herself? When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he approved of it instantly. This wasn't because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more that a long-forgotten thing called family.
Aww, that's so sweet, I guess.
So when they got married, he hadn't fussed over which last name there was to keep, and had quickly agreed to have his name entered into the Ushirimiya family registry. Okay, I feel like they wanted to add this part, but then they had to include the context again of...
We already heard this, like...
Yeah, we heard the context, we just didn't hear the Hideyoshi part. And so to make it flow naturally, they just put the entire beginning part again.
This game loves reusing dialogue. I just inhaled my saliva.
It hadn't been easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Ava knew Kinzo's personality well. So by choosing the time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuhi, she was magnificently able to make him accept Hideyoshi as an adopted son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and approved his transfer into the Ushirimiya registry. George would eventually become the successor to the Ushirimiya family. They had raised him strictly with that purpose in mind. He had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went.
Okay, but Kenta was still disappointed of his existence. Have you seen him tweak out in like this fucking study? He's like, Battler's too stupid. Freaking Maria's 9.
That was why he had not been permitted to fall in love with a servant like Shannon. So when she learned that Shannon was dead and the engagement was now invalid, though part of her had still been shocked by the gruesome crime, part of her also had been relieved that her dear George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. Fuck you.
Some servant girl who probably committed all the murders. I'm just saying it right now. Shannon might be dead, but I think Shannon committed the murders. I have hated Cross Nissan since long ago. He was so full of himself. Always swaggering around. This little swagger, so proud that he would one day become the head. So, I wanted to get back at him. Was that just a childish emotion? But in the end, that emotion guided my entire life. If that had been all, then it would have been fine. But because of that emotion, I got you and George involved.
Bro,
I used you.
I swear to God, the audio just like... This song is so loud compared to every other song.
Bro shredding on this piano.
Ava, don't blame yourself for that. Kiyoshi got up and held her shoulder. She could feel
Dude, they're
warm
raising the death flags.
understanding from him. Well, I reached the halfway point in my life long ago. But you know I have absolutely no regrets for how I've lived my life. Not one. Yeah, I think that since I've been with you, Ava, I've been able to relish and enjoy an enjoyable life that no other man will ever have. I changed that whole part of that sentence. After I lost my relatives in the war, he reminded me what warmth of family is. So I'm grateful to the Ushimiya family, and I think of it as my only one. In this life I've led with you, not a single thing's been wasted. It's really been fun. Oh my fucking god. It's really been a fun life up till today. Where 6 people died.
Thank you. Darling.
Ava hung her head, burying her face in Hideyoshi's chest.
And then a
Probably
gunshot rang.
no
He
one in the
died.
parlor could ever imagine that this side of Ava existed. I'm the one who should be thanking you. Until today, there hasn't been a single day I've regretted being with you.
Me too. I'm so glad to have you by my side.
George is already a fine adult. Even if you don't look out for him, he's a man who can do the job well on his own. Now I
What if we
wonder...
give this guy like a little twang? Because George has a little twang. Unless George picked up his twang.
Yeah, I like how I just gave that to George, not even thinking about it, but like, now it just fits.
Pretty sure this guy is where George got his little country twang from.
Yep. Around New Year's, do you want to go spend some time in the Maldives? I don't know how to say that word.
Maldives, yes.
Maldive. Just us, no one else.
No way. Aren't you always saying you're so busy responding to New Year cards that you don't even sleep?
None of that this New Year's. I won't read New Year's cards. I'll just stay quiet and check to see if I've won the New Year's lottery. It'd sure be nice if I won a color TV this year.
No way. I don't want to waste time checking the lottery while in the Maldives.
Then none of that either. How does it sound? Just the two of us, taking it easy like when we're newlyweds. Just before George was born and ruined our life.
Yes, in that case, it's fine. Even though we're probably gonna die tonight, because no way we're having this emotional conversation by ourselves and we're waking up this morning not dead.
I hear the Maldives are wonderful. I'm so grateful to be alive. Maldives, an island with nothing on it, surrounded by beautiful coral reefs and cottages lined up over the water. My voice is changing every time.
Dude, you know this game has only used 2 expressions for Ava until now because she's just been like a bitch this whole game.
Yeah, I was gonna
She's
say
like the Saiyajin. She's like She's the fucking Saiyajin. You know, like the fucking like squeaky, like annoying, like little girl, like in Danganronpa
Yeah.
2, like the blonde one. She's that character. She's like, oh yeah, Natsune-sama, you're the murderer. Oh my god, you think you can do that? Yeah, shut your trap. You're not even. Like when we're newlyweds, you say. Starting when?
As soon as I finished up some business. I won't know till I ask the travel agency, but probably for New Year's Eve.
No way. Right now? I want to go right now.
Eva nagged at his lips in a peevish yet flirtatious manner. The only sounds that filled the room were the distant voice of the announcer on the news, which Hideyoshi had left on, and the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. They're fucking.
No! No!
Room service. There was a knock on the door, and Genji-san answered.
Dead bodies are on the floor.
Madam, dinner has been prepared. Will you eat in here again?
Yes, I brought it here. It's
I just hear like 50 pings going on. We really do need a doctor. I have you muted because you're coughing, but you're coughing a lot.
Oh, sorry there. I looks like I have the case of tuberculosis. And my tongue's dyslexic a bit. Oh, it's just the shock from tonight, you know? Yes.
Oh shit, I thought that was a line.
No. Yeah. Yes, have it brought here. Fuck, that's our voice. Sorry, I'm composed now. Yes, have it brought here. Is Dr. Nanjo still in the kitchen?
Yes. He has said he wishes to carefully deliberate over his next move. Do not worry. He's with the other servants. Genji-san's good enough at chess to be grandfather's opponent. I hear he's even better than Dr. Nanjo, right? That's right. Long ago he played against me, but he must have let me win.
Maria! Maria! Shit, I got too excited doing Battler's voice. Maria! Sounds like it'll be time to eat soon. But look at you! You've been watching TV all day long and you still haven't gotten bored. I'm always watching TV, so I'm fine.
Maria-chan sure is a TV kid. Food's coming, so we have to clean up the table. Earlier, we had torn several pages out of Maria's notebook, and there was now a mess.
Someone's dead now.
Where everyone had been drawing together. Jessica began clearing that up quickly. Still, everyone here can really draw. I'd never guessed.
Genji.
Kill two people, the plot demands it.
Oh. Ask Ava-san and Hideyoshi whether at least have have dinner with us. Although they'll probably turn us down.
Certainly.
First father. Now Ava-san. It's quite hard to gather everyone to Shiromiya dinner table.
Dinner.
You want some dinner with your sardines tonight, boy?
Not Suhi.
Not Suhi. Felt her headache start throbbing again and lightly held her temples.
I'll let you read that line. The distance from the kitchen to the parlor wasn't that great, so Genji had gone and come back by himself, but the guest room was a little farther away. Natsuhi had warned him to avoid being alone whenever possible, and just now Nanjo had admonished him, saying it would be better if he held a little more concern for his safety. Kanon accompanied Genji, and the two of them went to visit Eva and Hideyoshi in their guest room. But Genji knocked on the door. Eva-sama. Hideyoshi-sama, what are you doing in there? Ken, go cover your ears. Dinner's been
Oh
prepared.
shit! What's happening? Are they finally gonna die? They
Genji-san,
were
why
gonna.
is there a sock on the doorknob? Ken, just go away.
They, they activated the first flag in a horror movie, which is having sex. You know, in horror movies, when the couple has sex, everyone's dead. If you're having any romantic affairs, you're gonna die to the killer. That's just how it works. That's how horror movies work. Have you guys seen Friday the 13th?
I've seen
'Cause I haven't.
Scooby-Doo, don't you know how it works?
You know, haven't you seen Scooby Doo? Haven't you seen Velma get the Shaggy?
He waited a short while for them to come out, but there was no response.
Genji-sama, look at this.
Sock!
No,
Ken had
I
pointed
don't
under
wanna
the
look
door.
at this now. Oh
Western
shit!
envelope had been inserted under it. Normally when something was inserted this way, it'd be interpreted as a message from outside to someone in the room. So since this might be a private note meant for Ava and Hideyoshi, this was not something that Ken and Genji were supposed to take interest in. But this Western envelope, it was one of Kinzo's, the same kind as the one Maria had taken out the night before. It surprised everyone.
This is spooky.
There can be no mistake. It is one of the master's envelopes.
Or could it be? Why am I moaning?
Even though this was one of Kinzo's envelopes, the letter Maria read aloud a previous night hadn't come from Kinzo. Genji continued knocking a little harder and called out in a loud voice, Eva-sama! Eva-sama! It is Genji. Are you in there? Please answer, Eva-sama. There was no response from the inside. Sometimes when the servants went to call guests for a meal, the guests would be sleeping so deeply that they wouldn't wake up. In times like that, the servant would stick a letter in the door to show that time to come out and leave the guest be. But despite that, Genji beat even harder on the door and called out Ava's name. However, there was no answer. Ken stuck his ear to the door and held his breath and listened for any sounds coming inside.
I hear something that sounds like the television. I don't sense anyone. The room might be empty.
Genji took out a handkerchief and, careful not to touch it with his bare hands, gently pulled the envelope that had been stuck under the door. I see he learned not to fuck with the fingerprints now.
Meow.
It was sealed with a deep red sealing wax. Meow. Without a doubt, the mark on the sealing wax had come from the Ushimiya family head's ring. Iwa-sama. 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 Please answer.
Please just break down the door.
Are you still in your room? No answer.
I hear no answer. Looks like they're sleeping early tonight.
Hideyoshi's actually at the door, but he's not going to open it until Genji says his name.
Bro, he's like blocking the door. He's like, hey Ava, stay quiet for a bit. I want to see if they care about me.
There's a chance that these two were aimlessly walking around the mansion. This was the home Ava had grown up in. There was plenty of reason to think that she had gone out for a casual stroll. Bro, we can't just keep thinking somebody's missing. Maybe they're on a stroll. Maybe they just wanted to walk.
Maybe they're just outside because they wanted to.
Genji gripped around his pocket and pulled out a bundle of keys, which contained the key that would open to any guest room.
Genji-sama.
Ganon also understood what this meant. They would sometimes unlock the door so they can go in and do things like make the beds, but only after they made sure the guests were out. To unlock the door for any other reason, especially to do so when there's a chance the guest hadn't given permission and might still be in there, was an action unbecoming of a servant.
Okay, but this is an emergency.
But Genji had decided, if the only problem had been that his knock hadn't received a reply, he wouldn't have gone this far. But the envelope under the door was doubtlessly one of Kinzo's. Or rather, one of the western envelopes of the Ushimiya family head. After last night, the center of the envelope could be someone other than Kinzo, if the letter had been sent by someone else. Iwa-sama, Iwa-sama, my apologies. For me to enter your room. After giving that final notice, Genji stuck one of his keys from the bundle into the keyhole.
Open the door.
There was a sound of the door unlocking, and after slowly turning the knob, he slowly started to open the door.
Oh, it's gonna be inside.
Just fucking a bunch of pixelated... People
There
on the
was
bed.
only light. There was only white shining light. The room
Lights.
didn't render.
Light seeped through the, the crack on the door.
You know what else was sleeping? The
Were they in the
sopping
room?
doorknob.
Or had they forgotten to turn off the lights? Clank. It was the sound of the door chain being pulled tightly. The chain had been secured. The chain couldn't be secured from the outside, so it also proved that they were in the room. The sound of the voices on the TV seeped out to the room. The lights, the chain, the TV, all of these things made it clear that they were in the room, but there was no sign of them. Ichi called out to Ava through the crack of the door, but there was no answer.
Out the door.
源氏様
Genji-sama,
Genji-sama.
please break
い
down
かが
the
し
door.
ますか
What should we do? Please break down the door.
And as part of their jobs, the servants were able to unlock almost any lock in the mansion. They had no way of opening a door with a chain. The only way they could get the chain was to cut it.
Please cut the door.
That was certainly not permitted as part of a servant's usual work. A creepy chill had already rested upon their backs. Cannon had held his breath again and tried to sense somewhat through the door, but even so, he was unable to sense anyone.
私は奥様をお呼びした
I keep like changing words, and it makes me have to like redo the sentence on the fly.
I'm gonna actually go insane. Why?
I will
If
call
this
Madam and return.
Any other visual novel, this would have been cut short. Please, just open the door.
Cannon, cut the chain.
はい
He pulls out his scissors. As Cannon hurried away to get the cutting tool, Genji called him to stop.
待てカノン
Wait,
厨
Cannon.
房に戻る
Return to the kitchen and take Kumasama with you. You must not act alone.
はい
Yes,
かしこまりました
certainly.
It looked like Cannon was wondering why he had to do something so troublesome in the middle of an urgent situation, but Genji had said it out of wariness. He didn't care what happened to himself. In the worst case scenario, he didn't want anything to happen to Cannon. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was piling food on the serving cart, and Nanjo was waiting for Genji, apparently wanting to show him a move he'd finally thought that might turn the tables on him. He's going to flip the chessboard around. And Genji's appearance immediately told him that something was wrong. Oh, what has happened, Genji-san?
南條先生
Dr. Nanjo, my apologies, but please allow this match to be suspended for the time being.
カノンはチェーンを頼む
Cannon, take care of the chain. Kumasawa, stop setting up dinner for now and accompany Cannon. I will go over to Madam.
ご一緒
If you would come with me, Dr. Nanjo.
何かあったんです
Has something happened? Genji took Nanjo, who still didn't know what was going on, and quickly left the kitchen.
熊沢さん申し訳ありませんが
My
僕と一緒
apologies,
に来て
but
ください
please come with me.
What has happened, Cannon-san? Kumasawa said almost exactly the same thing as Nanjo, unable to take in the situation, and chased after Cannon, who had flown out in the hallway. Taking Kumasawa with him, Cannon went to the storage room and looked through the tools, packed in toolboxes and hanging all over the walls, trying to find something that could be used to cut the chain.
何を探してるんですか
What are you looking for?
私も手伝いますよ
Let me look for
ド
two.
アチェーンを切断
Let
す
me
るん
look
で
for
す
two.
We're cutting the door.
大きめの番線カ
Cutting
ッ
a
ター
door
は
chain.
どこだっけ
Where was that large wire?
ドア
cut?
チェーンを
A door chain?
どうしてそん
Chain?
なことをするんです
Why
か
would you do something like
私たち
that?
の部屋にチェーン
Chained to Ava-sama and Hideyoshi-sama's room.
が中にいらっしゃるはずなのに
Even though they should be
お声
inside,
をかけて
they
も
didn't
返事
answer
がない
when
ん
we
です
called them.
It took Kumasawa some time to figure out how cutting the chain and Ava and Hideyoshi not answering were connected, but she did realize that it was an urgent situation.
これなら多分
That would probably do the trick.
Cannon took down a very large wire cutter that had been hanging on the wall. It was called a cutter, but it'd be easier to understand if we said it was shaped like a large pair of pliers. That is indeed how the tool looks like. Cannon remembered one being warned that this dangerous tool could easily cut through even one of your fingers. Cannon took that and rushed up the stairs. He already knew instinctively he should fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Or perhaps it was all ready.
待ってください
Please wait, Cannon-san. Ah,
早く
Hurry! Oh,
hurry, old lady. Misawa eventually caught up with him, grasping for breath, both hands on her knees. When Cannon changed his grip on the wire cutters and looked up at the door, he let out an ah. Oh shit.
な
What?
なんですか
What
これ
is
は
this? Eep. I'm feeling eepy. Kumasawa screamed weakly, her face pallid. There was no surprise, because right there on the door, just like the magic circle that had been drawn on the shutter of the Rose Garden storehouse, there was another eerie shape drawn with a blood-like paint. However, it would be odd to call this one a magic circle, because unlike what most people would expect, it wasn't a circle with shapes drawn inside of it, but
Okay, finish this line.
but a slightly more complicated geometrical shape.
I've seen people break down doors with their body weight.
Well,
you
this
know,
has a chain on it, though.
Yeah, but like you can still break a chain with enough body weight. I'm sure. Because Genji looks kind of big, you know? He probably has some muscle being a servant all these years.
They probably can't break the chain. They would have to break the hook that's on like the wall or the...
Probably is possible. Let me search it up. Can you break down a door with a chain?
I mean, it does depend on how strong the chain is.
The chain. It's only practical security. Playing intruder is very basic. Strength of the lock in the door. Intruders weapons. It's like, yeah, it's not long-term security. You can break it down pretty easily. It has like.
You can also just get the cutter.
A good kick will do this job. Like, okay, but like it's so urgent to the point where I feel like breaking down the door is just so much more. Cause like they left for like a couple moments and now there's blood sigils there.
I think didn't they say this was inside? Oh, on the door.
Yeah, on the door. See, that wasn't there when they left, and now they're fucked. And because they're definitely dead. And I prepared a perfect moment for this.
However, those strange characters filling in the gaps, which weren't from the alphabet, were the same kind as the ones on the magic circle in the shutter. The thing that had struck Kennen speechless wasn't how eerie the magic circle was. It was that something like this hadn't been here for a short while. First, he had taken a trip back to the kitchen. We're going to explain what we just did. After that, he had gone to the storage room to grab a tool and headed right back. Put those together, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone have added this creepy thing during that period of time?
Where was Maria during that time?
I was going to say, like, you could easily deduce, like, who was not seen in the past 5 minutes.
Yeah. Where was Maria during this time? Was she watching TV with everyone else? Who was there?
And as though it had just been drawn, almost like the door itself was bleeding. Like, the only people who would technically be suspicious would be actually known. All of them should have been accounted for. Several unsettling vertical red lines slowly dripped down, getting longer and longer. Eep, eep. Kumasawa's knees gave way and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa hadn't done this first, then Kennen surely would have wanted to.
Beatrice-sama!
It's the work of Beatrice-sama. How horrid, how horrid.
They still haven't opened the door yet. Are they still looking at the sigil?
Gulp? Kennen gulped and then readied the wire cutter and approached the door. He didn't want to get close to the disturbing magic circle, and he really didn't want to touch the suddenly dripping substance that looked like blood. Just fucking cut the wire. But if he didn't cut close, he wouldn't be able to cut the chain. Fighting the cold feeling, he gulped again, and after gathering his courage, that's such a funny word, gathering his courage, he went even closer, putting the wire cutter up against the chain. He then pressed with all of his strength, managing to cut through the chain far more easily than he anticipated.
Because you have a big fucking thing.
The cut chain fell into 2 separate parts, which continued to clang as they swayed back and forth. Kanon-san, there's an envelope by your feet. And that's the master's... Looked like Kumasawa had noticed the western envelope at the bottom of the door, and that the sealing wax had been sealed with the head's ring. Kennen hesitated for a second over whether he should open the letter first or check inside the room, but he eventually decided on fulfilling his original purpose. Kennen pulled a handkerchief out of his pocket. This way, he wouldn't leave any fingerprints on the door. If his worst fears were realized, the police would want to investigate this room too. He slowly pushed the door open. He was able to see more clearly. He was able to more clearly hear the sound of the television, which was seeping out faintly this time. Whole time.
Oh shit! Wait. Eva, Eva-sama, ma, Eva-sama.
Ava was lying up on the... Jesus Christ.
Oh shit! She's dead.
Ava was lying face up on the bed, sleeping.
Oh.
On the bed with her shoes still on? Kumasawa, who had been fearfully entering after Cannon, and who oh my god, I misread this entire fucking sentence. Hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate. I should drink because I am reading a lot. Hello, Thunderous. Hope you're about to enjoy this next scene that's coming up. Kumasawa, who had fearfully... You're making me fucking the fuck up. Who had fearfully entered after Cannon and who was hiding behind his back, screamed a short eek again and saw it when she saw... I can't fucking think of what did I just read? Screamed a short eek again when she saw Ava like that. Ava's shoes had been the first part of her that Cannon had seen, so the oddness of wearing shoes in the bed was the first thing to strike him. I keep misreading now. And when Ava's head shifted into his line of sight, Cannon couldn't help but let out a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Ava's forehead, something had been placed? Something was growing there? No.
Growing?
Right in the center of her forehead. Was it an old-fashioned knife? That, or some weapon like it, was sticking out.
Oh, this would have been better to play the Danganronpa sound.
At the base where it struck in, blood dripped down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave once more and she sank down to the floor. Her mouth kept flapping, open and closed, but she couldn't even scream. Ava was dead, with some kind of weapon sticking out of her forehead. Both eyes were wide open, and the image of a person who killed her must have been burned into them. But the only mouth capable of naming that person had been shut for all eternity. Even though her forehead was the last place they wanted to look, they couldn't tear their eyes from it. Right there, the weapon was stuck into Ava's forehead, standing almost perfectly upright. And on the handle was a complicated design that you wouldn't expect to see on any ordinary weapon. That thing could be summed up in the word occult. It was a vulgar object with a design that might have been of some demon.
Demon! There was a demon! There's a demon in the room! What about Hideyoshi-sama?
Ava was on top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? After taking a backwards glance at Kumasawa, still on her knees and stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. At that moment he opened the door, he was greeted by steam and the sound of a shower. The bathroom was of the same familiar style as most hotel bathrooms. When taking a shower, the waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. Oh shit. That waterproof curtain was half open, and lying tumbled down in the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked, with both eyes open, and pointing right at Cannon. Just like Ava, a weapon of a demon-like design was stuck into his forehead. Let's see what it looks like.
Demon. There was a demon in this presence in this room in our house. There's a demon.
That's an interesting tool.
Oh, it's kind of deep, dude. You know, to be honest, we all knew this was gonna happen. Like we said, the death flag was being raised way long ago, huh?
The curtain was torn a bit too.
That's sad, I guess. Ava was kind of a bitch.
Yeah, she deserved that. So, since his head had been under the shower's hot water this whole time, his face wasn't half covered, and filthy with blood like Ava's has been. Wait, his face is intact. I just realized it's not like destroyed like the others were in the beginning.
I think the first murder was done to it's just supposed to be give a reaction and probably motivate Batman into solving the mystery. While like these murders, Batman probably was there.
But the sight of him dead while still taking a shower was tragic enough.
Yeah, like at least give me privacy before I die. Like, I
Worst way
don't
to
wanna
die when you're vulnerable in the shower.
The worst way to die is naked.
Just then, he heard Natsuhi's voice coming from the hall. So it's probably coming with Genji.
またしてもこのような落書きが。
Again, with the graffiti.
この手紙は
Oh, what about this letter?
中にはなんと
What does it say inside?
I don't know, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
We
won't
shouldn't
you
touch
believe-
it carelessly. The culprit's fingerprints might be left on it. We should hand it over to the police.
わざわざ手紙を残すくらいです。
They went out their way to leave it here.
どうせ指紋など残っていま
I'm
せん。
sure they wouldn't have left fingerprints.
As
So
Natsuhi
let's
said
open
that
the-
she picked up the envelope. And before checking its contents, she entered the room herself where she found Ava dead.
エマさん。
And Fortnite dances on her body.
こちら
I
には
really deserved it, but I don't want to be suspected for murder. She saw us here too.
This is
God,
really atrocious.
シャワーを止めたのです。
turn off the shower. Our electricity bill's getting too high. Don't let this pitiful be more pitiful than it needs to be. Yes, ma'am.
Hannon gripped his handkerchief and twisted the valve, turning off the shower. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen off with the cap. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen with its cap off. It really looked like he had been attacked while taking a shower. There was still a small splash of blood clinking onto the white bathtub, and the combination of red and white made a horrible contrast. Dr. Nanjo. I understand. No signs of post-mortem livity. Rigor mortis hasn't begun either. It would seem an hour or so has passed since they were killed. But even so, how a weapon with such a short handle could do that to the skull, I cannot imagine. Nanjo checked their pulse in their pupils, making certain of their deaths once more. As Kanan watched this business-like treatment, he thought, couldn't you tell from a glance that they were dead without doing all that? Nanjo thought about removing the weapon, but then decided it would be best to preserve the scene and hand it over to the police, so he left it alive. But a close inspection of the base showed it didn't have a blade. In fact, it was more of a conical than blade shape. Yeah, I was thinking it kind of looked like one of those lances from long ago. He noticed that rather than a knife, it was more like a short-handled spear, yeah. Something with a shape better suited for thrusting than slicing. Rather than a short spear, you might call it a thick ice pick. At any rate, after looking at this scene, no further words were needed to describe what sort of terrible purpose such eerily designed weapons were originally made for. Nor was it necessary to explain how they carried out their function. Natsuhi, hoping to escape the repulsive steam-filling bathroom as soon as she could, covered her mouth with a handkerchief and dashed from the room. Just viewing their gruesome bodies for an instant had been enough to burn their image to her eyes. If she looked any longer, the image would certainly remain in her vision for all eternity. The rising urge to vomit was exactly the same feeling she had felt the morning of the gardening storehouse. For a while, Natsuhi couldn't help but stand with her back facing the guest room, fighting that sickness to her stomach. It's your line.
この
At
部屋
any
の
rate,
子供たちに
we can't let the children
ジョージ
again.
見せるわけには
We can't let George see this room.
至急この部屋を閉じなさい
Seal this room with all haste.
Yes, we mustn't let them see. If George-san saw his parents lay in this brutal state, he would have known they just had sex. But they could tell that those fiercely... Huh?
It's been horrible.
Yeah.
Some death is seeing your parents have dirty. I saw my dad's dick once when I was younger and I was mortified.
Okay. You didn't have to share that. But they could tell that...
I was trying, it was funny because I was trying to
It
find my
was-
parents and I was scared because I didn't know where they were. So I checked the bathroom and my mom and dad were arguing naked in the bathroom. Well, my stepmom and dad were arguing in the bathroom once. And I saw, and I was like, oh my god, they're naked. So I ran back downstairs into my into the computer.
Okay. They could tell that those fiercely racing footsteps in the hallway belonged to George even before he came dashing into the room.
It was Plasma.
George and the other children have been waiting at home. When they saw Genji speak to Natsuhi, when they saw her turn pale and fly out the parlor, they felt a sense of foreboding. And then they saw a large group of people gathered around the guest house. And they were sure of it. Sorry, guest room. Father! Mother! What is this? Another magic circle?
Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi-san are safe, right? No, obviously fucking not. Okay, cannon gun. What's this all about? Ugh, I'm thrusting it. Oh, that's a new expression. Battler-sama. Stop! That's indecent.
Cannon didn't have to say anything. George's scream after he ran into the room told them everything they needed to know.
California girl.
Who did this? I'll kill you. I'll kill you. There's no time to celebrate.
George got hang in there. Katy Perry is our Lord and Savior, and she will save us all.
They fucking listened to her newest album and killed themselves. Anyways.
Her newest album kind of was ass.
Natsuhi touched George's shoulder with one hand and he violently shook her off.
How could I stand them? Stand
George?
Katy Perry with this state.
George fell over beside Ava and buried his face into the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. Then he pounded on the bed with his fist over and over again. George Nissan, hang in there. Battler? Battler had his back against the wall in the hallway and was covering his eyes with his right hand and weeping without restraint.
Horrible. Horrible. That's horrible. Horrible. He proposed to the girl he loves and lost her the next day. And on the same day, even his mom and dad were killed. Isn't that too harsh?
Of course, it's sad when anyone dies, no matter who it is. But to Battler, those left alone by the deaths of their others were far more worthy of pity. Everyone here had lost someone close to them. George wasn't the only one to be pitied. However, George's pain was far greater than everyone else's. Battler. Your turn. Stop listening to Katy Perry.
I know everyone dies sooner or later. If you're human, you'll eventually reach a time where you fight there's the sorrow of losing someone close to you. But still, shouldn't that day be far from future for Haneki? And shouldn't those deaths visit him at one shouldn't those deaths visit him one at a time? Horrible! Horrible! It's too horrible! That bastard! Bastard. My voice for Battler is so inconsistent. I don't actually remember what voice I did for him originally. He doesn't have a speck of human sympathy in him. Oh, Sui the gender. Oh, he, him pronouns. Come on, man. Battler, don't cry. Don't cry. It was a woman actually who killed them. Stop being a misogynistic prick.
Maria tried to comfort Battler in a mechanical sounding voice. Battler violently wiped his tears.
Yeah. Shitty Deku! Shitty Deku. I won't cry anymore. Tears of regret. Tears of sadness. I won't shed again. Yeah. It's all useless. Which has got me backed in a corner. I'm always on the defensive.
そりゃダメだぞ
That's useless. It's all useless.
チェス盤がひっくり返っちまう
Don't spin the chessboard around. That bastard probably thinks we'll be running like scared sheep until tomorrow before we try anything. But guess what? I'll spin it around. That bastard can't escape this island until tomorrow either.
しょんべんち
We won't be hiding anyways. Piss it ourselves, that bastard will.
野郎の方だ
So you tuned in just at the right time. JDC writes RPG. We just witnessed 2 murders. Who?
Talk to
暴いてやるぜ
Oh, no, not what I was saying.
Sorry. Suppose you'll see
明日までに
by tomorrow.
いや
No, screw tomorrow. Tonight. I'm going. Battler's like going through like 5 stages of puberty just because I can't fucking keep his voice consistent.
Love this game. That's great. Everybody says they love it, so it must be good. It must be good. There's no way.
Must be good. Must be.
Battler fucking sees people die. He's like, yep, I'm gonna solve it.
掴み上げてやる
Before tonight, I'll be gripping by the collar. Gripping you by the collar. My voice. How do I forgot what voice I gave Battler.
You had it like consistent for maybe the first 10 streams, and then you just decided to start changing it.
The first 10, and that's
こ
too
の部屋は
much.
警察が来る
It's been like 2 weeks since we
このまま
started.
にして推進します
Okay, I've been like consistently sick for 2 weeks. Oh, I
Yeah.
fucked up block class.
Well, it's been like a month.
I've been sick for like 2 months. At any rate, we'll lock this door and leave everything inside.
いいですね
Fuck, I fucked up her voice. At any rate, we'll lock this room and leave everything as it is until the police come. No objections, I take it.
Natsuhi announced it as though she didn't care whether they agreed or not. If anyone had a right to object, it would have been George, but he looked as if he had shed enough tears. George nodded slightly, still facing away from the others, and when he stood up, everyone else agreed too.
We got like
Natsuhi-
1 less character to voice act.
True, we both got one less. Oh wait, let's read the
Let's see who.
portrait thingies.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Found on the bed in the guest room inside of the mansion with a weapon resembling an ice pick. Is it the same thing? Oh no, his is different. Found in the bathroom, the same guest room Ava was found in. Like Ava, there was a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his forehead. You can't see either of them by looking through the gap in the door with the chain set in. You can't see them, so you can't reach them. Hey, Hayes, how could a human possibly kill them? That sounds like
trying to
Maria talking. What?
They're trying to make it as a witch existence. That's not true.
Putting the autism tag to work.
What the hell? I'm not that autistic, guys.
I'm not that autistic, guys. I just start meowing sometimes.
I'm not that autistic, guys. I just was diagnosed from a young age. Yeah.
And that's-
Yeah.
Let's see, he still hadn't opened up that Western envelope of the family head that she picked up. Oh yeah, that's right, she has it. Now that they decide to leave the room, she decided to unseal it in the parlor where everyone could watch. As soon as they walked out in the hallway to head back to the parlor, some of them immediately felt something was out of place, or maybe sensed something strange.
答えよ stinks?
Did you notice it too, Maria? Seriously, what's that smell? It's awful.
何の匂いだよ
When everyone sniffed the air, they did notice a horrible burnt smell drifting through the hallway. One that none of them had smelled until then. Well, it looks like they did not, oh, hello. Oh, bye-bye. Looks like they, didn't turn off the stove, mayhap.
私
I will go quickly check the kitchen.
火はちゃんと消した
I'm sure I turned the flame off. After noticing
I'm
a burnt
sure
smell,
I turned the flame off.
it was natural that Kumasawa, who had been just using the burner in the kitchen, suspected that her own slip-up had caused it. Kumasawa hastily dashed away.
カノ
Kaden, go with Kumasawa. Do not let her be alone.
はい
Yes.
After nodding at Genji's order, Kennen followed after her. He wasn't running, but as he followed her, he tried to search for the cause of the smell in the other directions as well.
Stinks.
これは確かに
It is truly
鼻が
a
曲がり
stench
そうな
that
匂い
makes
で
the
す。
nose wrinkle.
しかし
However, that doesn't mean we can just open a door for ventilation.
Why not? Natsuhi was reluctant to open the windows in a situation where self-defense was important. Okay, so somebody's outside the window, they try to crawl in, you shoot them with a gun. Open the freaking window, it smells in here.
換気扇を回させましょう。
Let us run the fan. I do not believe there will be any need to open the windows.
上司の兄貴
George on it. Deku. Shitty Deku. Is it okay?
犯人を探す
If it's about finding the culprit, then I have no problems. It seemed that George had been to climb out of the abyss of sorrow. All that was filled in his chest now was the quiet flame of hatred towards the culprit who had stolen the lives of the one he loved and his beloved parents.
部屋にはチェーンがかかってた
The train in the room.
I'm like fucking Oscar the
外からされてる
freaking Muppet.
Fuck. The chain of the room was set. From what I could tell by looking at it, I'm positive that it couldn't be opened from the outside.
つまり
Believe it.
完璧な密室だった
Yeah, it's the Naruto voice.
it, it, in other words, the fuck, what the fuck?
A little too deep.
What the fuck?
Hey, you Bakugo! Katsuki Bakugo is not a monster! So stop cheating about Leggings Run!
That TikTok is so fucking dumb.
Oh wait, am I still okay?
You didn't finish the last line.
I thought I did.
You like interrupted yourself to say the TikTok thing.
Wait, let me get it. Alright. In other words, this was a perfect closed room.
そうなるね
Doesn't seem to be the
バラ
case.
庭園の倉庫の
In the case of the Rose Garden storehouse, they might have sneaked the shutter keys out of the servant room. Or maybe they had a duplicate key. I can imagine many ways they could have done it. But the chain is different. Among generally used locking techniques, a chain is the simplest one to create a closed room with.
チェーンだけは
Only a chain will block everyone coming from the outside as long as it doesn't...
合わないぜ
You like stub your toe? As long as it isn't physically broken.
じゃあつまり
No,
So-
I accidentally was spinning my chair and then my wire got caught. I was spinning too fast.
So does this mean the culprit couldn't have gone in or through... in or out through the door?
面白いねつい数時間前も扉以外でどうやって部屋から出入りしたのかって
Sorry, guys.
みんな
I'm
で
actually
騒いだ気がす
12 going
るぜ
through puberty. That's interesting. Just a few hours ago, I seem to remember everyone making a fuss over how to enter a room without using the door.
Back then, we were all losing our cool, wondering how grandfather had disappeared from the room. The receipt on... Well, did we look in the... Actually, yeah. Again, like, we didn't actually specify if we checked the room very well.
No, they didn't even go back to check it. They were like,
Well, we don't know, so we won't check again.
Could have just
Like,
been in the
guys-
room still.
you guys could have just checked for clues, right? Like, they could have just walked around.
The... The the receipt Aunt Ava stuck in the door of the wind proved that the door had remained sealed. Since Aunt Natsuhi was the only person to enter and exit during that time, she was under suspicion. Aunt Ava proposed a theory about how Aunt Natsuhi might have thrown grandfather out the window and left the door herself. This door, however, was much simpler. It was sealed from the inside by the door chain. The window had also been locked from the inside, and the bodies had been inside the room. This time, it really had been, without an exaggeration, a true closed room. That's right. If you include grandfather's disappearance, the 3 cases occurred all 3 times the doors have been the point of interest. The first was the shutter. There was a key in the servant room. If we assume someone knew about that, then it really can't be called a closed room. Bro, his suits of armor? They're inside the armor. The killer's in the armor. The next was the door sealed by the receipt. However, Aunt Natsuhi entered that room, so if grandfather had left through the window or had been thrown out, she would have been able to lock the door before escaping. Or, like my theory, grandfather could have hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, this door can be defeated by a handful of desperate tricks. In that case, you really can't call this one a closed room either. However, we have a door sealed with a door chain. Finally, we have to give up. The window, the door, everything had been locked. It was a perfect closed room. The first hadn't been a closed room because everyone could be suspected. The second had been a closed room because Aunt Natsuhi could be suspected. But this time, no one could be suspected. This was the perfect closed room because the door chain formed the seal that blocked everyone equally well. In that case, did the culprit carry out the crime while entering the room? With some method outside the room? Good point. Even though the chain makes it impossible to open it wide enough for a person to fit through, you can open it through a small crack. Did the culprit knock on the door and make them peer out before attacking them? Wait, am I missing something? Wait, yeah, the Piet's portrait is right behind. Valor's like, oh, I wonder who could have done it. He just turns around, he just looks at the portrait. He just had to wash off the wound a bit. That's why he turned on the shower. Okay, hear me out. So what if they had a clothing hanger, right? And they hooked the chain onto it and then chained it onto the door. It's not impossible. I'm just saying, because the door can open a small crack. Oh wait, something was going on, and it was Maria apparently. Oh, she was tugging on his sleeve.
バトラは親族の誰かを疑うのが嫌だから犯人はベアトリーチェであってほしいと願ったよ。だからベアトリーチェは叶えた。バトラが言った通り、絶対に人間には無理なことをしてバトラに魔女のなのにわがまま。
Okay, wait, but I'm like so it has to be something like that. Because people unlock their car doors with like a coat hanger. So you can definitely lock the door with something thin like that. Maria believes in the power of magic. He's definitely the most fucking hate Himiko. I tapped Maria, who was laughing unpleasantly, on the head with my fist.
ああ、叶えてくれてありがとうよ。今のはその礼と、不謹慎な時に笑ったことへの教育的指導だ。それより教えやがれ。エヴァおばさんたちの部屋の扉にも、また怪しげな落書きがされていた。あれもまた魔法陣なのか。
あれは特に覚えやすい特徴的な形なんだからあのくらい知っててほしいね。あ、いて。
知らねえから花を持たせてやってんだ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえで解説しろい。
バトラは暴力的だね。あんまり意地悪すると教えないよ。あ、いて。
Quick, keep hitting her.
言うよこのげんこつ男。あれは月の一の魔法陣だよ。
何の意味がある。その魔法陣のご利益は。
Holy shit, I've had you muted for like, I don't even know how long.
You fucking heard me,
Yeah, you were coughing and I muted you for a second.
I was voice acting this whole entire time!
It could not have been that long.
Oh my fucking god, and you muted me!
Oh, sometimes you cough.
I'm your entertainment! I'm your content! You think I'm your content?
I just muted you again. I have all the power. I can silence you.
I'm literally your main source of content and you mute me? You think this game would be any entertaining without me?
You fucking, you've been sick for over a month. Stop fucking coughing on the mic.
Alright, well, like, have you been hearing me, or has the stream just not been hearing me
No,
at
I've been hearing you. I heard you the whole time.
all? Okay. So you're saying the stream didn't pick up any of my voice
It's kind of
lines?
awkward because it's been you and Battler, it's been Maria and Battler talking to each other for like at least a minute.
So you've just been silent.
Okay, yeah, it had to have been recent. Like before this scene, you were definitely unmuted.
Uh-huh. Okay, but the scene's been dragged out for a long time.
Read the line, Battler.
Okay. Well, we're just brushing this over. Like, he didn't just abuse his power, and like, you just missed out on so
Dude, my
many
keys
cool
are super
content.
sensitive. They're like, sometimes I just press them without
Oh, my
noticing.
keys are just so sensitive. They're just so petite and like delicate. You gotta treat them with a lot of care, okay? You gotta be very careful and delicate, okay? If you offend them, then maybe you'll just stay muted, okay? I don't make the rules here. I'm Jin
I'm
Sueño.
sorry, Deku. I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez. What does that Hebrew writing mean?
記されているのは旧約聖書詩編第107編の16
The words are from the Old Testament. Psalm
Psalm.
Psalm 107 verse 16.
主は聖堂の
For
扉を
he
破
has broken the gates of the brass and cuts through the bars of iron.
魔法陣の効用
This
は
magic circle has two effects.
一つはいかなる
First,
方
it can
法に
open
よっ
the
て
door
閉ざされ
regardless
た
of which
扉で
method
も
has been
開
used
く
to
こと
lock
が
it.
でき
そりゃ便利な魔法だぜ。
That sure is convenient.
つまり
So you're saying they're trying to make it look like they're a witch because the closed room has a door that couldn't be opened without relying on magic?
Whoa, wait, hold on. What did this say? It can be... Wait, the circle... Two effects. It can open a door regardless of which method has been used to lock it. Okay, but this was drawn after the door was already open.
Yeah.
Or not open, sorry. After the murder had been done. Unless, like, in the beginning, they just didn't open the door. And then in the time they all left, then they died. No, but there would have been like probably more blood or something. I don't know. Yeah, they had to have already been dead.
もう一つの紅葉は
Babs. Yeah.
And the other
開
effect.
かぬ扉を八
When
方
you're
塞
blocked
が
by
りの事態
unopened
に見立て
doors in all
扉を
directions,
開く
it opens a door.
難解な事態の時に
By
用いる
using it in a
ことで
difficult
それまで思いつ
situation,
きも
it gives
し
you
な
a
かった
solution
解
and
決策
hadn't
を
even
与
thought
え
of
てくれ
until
る
then.
平たく言うと
Generally
観察力
speaking,
や
if you
洞察
receive
力
powers of
ひら
observations
めき
and
や直感
discernment,
を授けてくれる
inspiration
んだ
and
ね
intuition.
You're definitely approaching it in the right spirit, questioning one in relation to murder. The symbol is drawn. Yeah, I feel like we do a good job of analyzing
Yeah,
what is
like, for
actually
example,
happening in the moment.
Shannon's is fucking suspicious as fuck. No, ain't no way that you don't see their face and like instant like the game is like, yeah, George didn't see Shannon's face. Okay? That's suspicious. I don't trust Ava and Hideyoshi. I don't care if you're dead. I don't trust that. I don't trust Dr. Nanjo. I don't trust the servants. I don't trust anyone.
I trust Natsuhi with my life.
You trust Natsu because you think she's hot.
He's so
You trust Natsu because you just simply think she's hot. Like, I really think, like, Shannon was somehow involved in the first murder just because the fact that we didn't see the other half. I
See,
feel
I'm
like
telling you, like, what if their heads just did that?
their heads just blew up by themselves.
Yeah.
They just went pop all in the storage room because they all just got teleported there and they were like, "All right, guys, let's play. Let's
My
play
main goal
Patty.
is to blow up.
My main goal is to blow up and act like I don't know nobody."
Natsuhi-san, that's what I'm saying. She's the best character. She's done nothing wrong this whole game. Actually, the only thing wrong she did was she didn't shoot Ava earlier.
Should have just gotten it over with.
Ooh.
Like, honestly, I could tell that Ava and Hideyoshi were gonna die. Why were they like taking off all the death flags? But I think it's suspicious how like
Right, it's not magic. It just
I
maybe
I don't-
maybe you know sometimes spontaneous combustion is like a thing.
Because you think it's no, I'm pretty sure it's something about like Shannon. Has to be Shannon, okay? It has to be something to do with her. There's something so suspicious about her that's like ticking me off, and like I don't know what exactly it is, but I like has to be like servants. Like I actually agree with Battler on the thing of like servants being accomplices or something. It's just so suspicious, dude. I don't know, man.
If you're gonna
Yeah. What?
yeah, I was just gonna read what JDC wrote. So if you're gonna go with the sudden head explosion theory, you might as well side with Maria.
Honestly, like Maria, I feel like isn't too like as much as I think Beatrice exists in some form, but I don't think like but I really don't think like Beatrice was responsible for the first murder. It just like doesn't make sense to me. Like I think the murder has to be done by like multiple people, at least for the first murder. The second murder, I'm not really sure, but the first murder feels more accurate if like, for example, the servants were somehow involved. Dr. Nanjo's freaking like analysis was incorrect because Dr. Nanjo's like Dr. Nanjo. I don't really trust his accurate like design, like whatever he's saying. I don't really trust him. I don't know. He works under Kinzo. They all work under Kinzo, so like that's suspicious already, right? Kinzo's the one who believes in poisons. Like Shannon, we didn't get to see half of her face because George was too distraught to see half of her face. But the only people who saw half of her face was like Ava and Hideyoshi, and like that's suspicious that they're the only ones who saw her face. I don't think like I don't know why. That just feels weird because like obviously the game focused so much on like the people's like faces that if one character just was like, oh, it's so grotesque, I can't see the face, that obviously raises some death flags and some like dangerous, like I don't know what you call it. It's just like something so hella suspicious about like fuck, my brain just like pooped
Well,
itself.
I was gonna say It's interesting that we're talking about this with Maria right now because Canon and Genji aren't in this room right now to say, like, I don't know if they would speak up and like take Maria seriously, but like they would have known that the circle wasn't drawn when they were there. So I hope they bring it up because I feel like that's kind of important because like in that 5 minutes when Canon was gone, like somebody was here and drew this. So like who is not with us? Who doesn't have somebody to give them an alibi?
You think Maria could have been the one to draw any of these sigils?
Well, apparently she was sitting on watching TV the whole time.
Okay, well, I feel like time with Umineko is very confusing, at least with the way they present each of the times. Like, for example, the first murder was supposed to be like around only 6 hours, right? But who's to say it was actually 6 hours? And then over here, Dr. Nanjo says it's 1 hour, but who's to say it's actually been 1 hour? And who's to say, I don't know. It's very confusing. I don't have enough evidence to make up my own theory about this murder, but I have my theories about the first murder. Specifically,
read your paragraph. You repeated your theory like 50 times.
Okay, I always repeat my theory for like each stream just in case I forget it because I have bad memory, okay? I already explained like yesterday multiple times that Shannon is weird.
That's fucked up.
Is not fucked up, dude. She's too like they build her up to be too nice for me to like simply think like there's something going on with her.
There is a clock that appears. It would be nice if they had a clock on the screen to... We play like about an hour or so every day. So it'd be a little hard to remember what time it is.
Yeah.
Alright, read your paragraph.
Richard was trying to provoke you, since there's no way lowly humans like Battler could figure out how this door was opened.
I already figured it out. It was the co-hanger.
Ouch!
Okay, good work. So shut up. Sounds great. I'll accept this challenge from the witch.
Maria-chan, things like witches and demons... I finally get to voice something. Things like witches and demons don't exist in this world. Someone killed father and mother. I don't know whether that's someone I know or not. But either way, it definitely wasn't a human. Yeah, but how? How did they reach those two through the crack of the door? It could have been more than 10 centimeters wide.
At any rate, I can hardly stand the stench. What in the world could it be? It's freaking gasoline and they're gonna burn down the house.
Be a gas leak. Kanon and Kumasawa, who had gone ahead, realized the smell wasn't coming from the kitchen even before they arrived there. That was because they noticed an even thicker wave of stench rising up from the stairs leading to the basement, which they passed on their way to the kitchen.
The boiler room. Oh shit.
I wonder if there's something wrong with the boiler again. Those stairs led to the underground boiler room. The mansion's boiler was old and in poor condition. Both of them had witnessed problems with the boiler on several occasions, but they could never smell the boiler belching out a stench like that before. What was that sound? The thing they heard from the basement was definitely the sound of a door closing. Kumasawa had phrased it as a question, but she already knew it couldn't be anything else. Kumasawa was so surprised at the sound that her knees gave away yet again and she cowered. After all, at that very moment, no one could have been in the boiler room. Just a few seconds ago, everyone had been crowded together around Ava and Hideyoshi's room. So who caused the sound of a door closing just now? Kanon-san! After taking a second to sort out the situation, Kanon ran down towards the basement. As they had heard the sound of a door closing just now, there was no sign of anyone coming up the stairs. Oh, and there was no sign of anyone coming up the stairs. The person who closed the door must be inside the boiler room right now. The boiler room had been a dead end. Kanon wouldn't have rushed in so hastily. But Kanon was a servant, so he knew that there were two entrances to the boiler room. One that opened them to the mansion, and one that opened to the courtyard. That's a little strange. There's a room from the courtyard to the boiler room. If it didn't chase them by now, they might slip away. Kumasawa reached the same conclusion long after Kanon did. but she couldn't let him go alone. If the thing in the boiler room was the culprit, and the opponent who had easily killed 6 adults in the first murder, then no matter how Cannon confronted them, he wouldn't be a match. Of course, with this argument, even if Kumasawa joined him, it wouldn't change anything. At any rate, after a delay, Kumasawa decided that she mustn't let Cannon go alone, and she rushed down the stairs.
Could it possibly be?
At that time, Cannon was already in the boiler room. Hey, what if Kumasawa is just hiding her power level? Like, what if she can just fuck up 6 people at once?
Oh my god, that reminds me of this one BL visual novel I played where like the maids were like secretly like very old.
Secretly very old?
Yeah, but like there's like this doctor guy who like performed surgery and gave them like eternal youth or something.
Oh, that's like
It's
Dragon Ball.
kind of. It's Hashihime of the Old Booktown. It's a good BL visual novel. I love visual novels.
Yeah,
They're
we're
so
the visual
nice.
novel guys.
Yeah, we're the visual novel guys.
I'm coining that. That's our name.
Yeah, we should start a podcast. We should name it.
At that time, Cannon was already in the boiler room. The boiler room's characteristic damp heat tormented him. It had always been an unpleasantly smelly and hot place. And on top of that, the room was filled with that horrible stench, which made Cannon feel like he was going to be sick. There was no doubt that the room was a source.
Oh, I'm gonna
In
be
that
sick.
case, Cannon should... He said, feeling sickly. In that case, Cannon should have been searching for where the smell was coming from. However, Cannon kept gazing straight forward as he grabbed a hatchet from the tool shelf, just off the side of the door. He hadn't stretched out his hand because he wanted a hatchet. He had wanted to grab a weapon, any weapon. Why?
Because he needed the money right now.
Cannon gazed into the darkness where the naked light bulb couldn't pierce. Then he answered.
ルーレットは数字と赤黒にかけた
Bet on
配
the
当を
number
競い
colors red or black, vying for a payoff.
だが
However, low
赤か
risk
黒か
bets
の
like
ような
black and red only offer
リスクの
similar
低い
low
賭けは
payoff.
その程度の配当
The
を
words coming from Cannon's mouth were swallowed up by the darkness. The darkness suddenly started to swirl, glittering. There's 3 Beatrices.
3 of them.
Oh shit, there's too many. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, wait. 9 butterflies. I like the conspiracy theory guy. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Conspiracy theory guy.
I don't think the number of butterflies mean anything. It was such a fantastical scene. Golden sparkling butterflies that hid in the shadows all over the boiler room, flapping their wings, twinkling beautifully, and gathered in the darkness, disappearing. Cannon continued speaking, directing his words at the darkness as it swallowed the butterflies up. This noise is really creepy. I don't like distorted audio like this. I get so spooked by like noises like this, bless you. Like, I don't know, it makes me feel uneasy, which it's supposed to do, but as butterflies gathered in the darkness, they probably no, they would certainly laugh.
I really like distorted sounds because I like horror.
Okay, but I don't like it because it's horror and it's scary.
But it's like the fun part of it, you know?
Oh,
like,
it's uneasy because it's like, it's the build-up.
it's like fun because like it makes you feel part of the experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking myself and get jump scared.
You're not gonna get jump scared in Uminekos.
But Cannon continued to speak without faltering in the slightest.
逆により的中率の低いかけ方
However,
をすれ
if you bet on something with a
ば
lower
そのリスクに
probability,
比例した
your
配当が
payoff
与えられ
increases
る
proportional to the risk.
親方様は
A master
天
cult
文学
succeeding
的なリ
despite
スク
the
を的中で
astronomical
きる
risk
こ
of a
と
miracle,
その結果得られる天文学的な配当
and the
を
result of astronomical
Mahou
payoff
to
being the
yonde
result of magic. I have no interest in what kind of magic you or the master is seeking when you spun that roulette. But you forgot something. There's a pocket that's neither black nor red.
Is? Oh, the 0. Sorry, I don't gamble enough. Roulette has a special pocket called 0, which means that the house takes everything in certain variants. That means that all of the coins bet on the table will be swept up, just as though everyone has forfeit.
I set my heart on one thing. I decided if Shannon were to be killed and I was last left. I'll sacrifice my life as mine to bring the roulette to yours to a ruin. What if he's
What if he's
this isn't
what?
one of Master's rules, and certainly isn't one of yours. What if he's Beatrice? I made this rule myself. I'm not furniture anymore. Not furniture anymore. I'm the 0 in your roulette.
Hype and aura moments. Cannon's face twisted with humiliation. It was clear that his defiance against his own weakness was being ridiculed somehow. Cannon's brow creased even further, and a fierce expression that had never shown to anyone appeared on his face. The hand grasping the hatchet was shaking. His sweat became drops, which slid downward. It was clear that the emotion causing Cannon's hand to shake wasn't just anger. However, Cannon suppressed that emotion.
I won't let your words estray me again. This is where the demon roulette ends. Wait another 1,000 years in hell for your next summoner.
When Cannon raised the hatchet and tried to dive into the darkness definitely sneered. It sneered at the courage as if it was vulgar, lazy, futile, and meaningless. Oh. What the fuck just giggled? That'd be Hitsurichi's voice. Cannon, his hatchet still held aloft, couldn't take another step after that. With a clang, the hatchet that he'd been grasping fell and rolled onto the floor. And following that, with a pair of thuds, Cannon's knees hit left and then right. That hand, which looked like it was trying to catch the sky, now that the hatchet had been dropped, gradually lowered, landing on his chest. The other hand did the same. Right there, a handle of a demon-shaped design was buried in his chest. The same kind of weapon that had been stabbed into Ava and Hideyoshi's forehead was now in Cannon's chest.
What if Cannon actually just stabbed his own chest?
Where'd he get that knife from?
This is a play, and like what we're watching right now is just like not actually like real.
Cannon was curled in anguish, fresh blood dribbling from the corner of his mouth.
I've read a visual novel like that before though, where like this is all actually like a book, and like what the plot twist was in the end. What if that's just Umineko?
What if it was just all a dream? Oh my god.
Not really all a dream, but the fact that like everything that's happening is basically a play.
They all get up together at the end, stand up and bow.
Well, it's not like my idea of the play isn't like one of like where like everyone is like wanting to be involved necessarily. It's like there's this one visual novel I played that's like I forgot the name of it, but it was basically the visual novel had these characters, right? And in the end, it was basically this one guy realizing that his whole life is being like a written story, but that's why it was like unfulfilling. And at the end, he tries to break the cycle of like the storybook or whatever, and then he merges with, like. So what if canon and like the servants are just like part of this narrative? Well,
I see.
Battler,
A
for
little
example,
meta.
is like not part of the narrative or is being thrown into the narrative. So what if canon right now was just a setup? What if that what if that is it? What if that's the thing? Honestly, I
Video's
feel
a
like it's a
thing.
bit too far fetched right now. But like I feel like that theory isn't like too bad.
We'll just have to see. It was.
Okay, but then the answer arcs are gonna take forever.
We'll get there by the end of the year. It was makeup too extreme for Kanon's white skin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, am I crazy or is there one more butterfly? Or did I just miscount the first time?
I don't even know.
Around this scene, the glittering gold butterflies danced through the darkness, mesmerizing. It was a beautiful, beautiful dance, a funeral march of tribute, ridicule, and contempt for a single boy's self-sacrifice. Kanan had already been prepared for his own death. But, although he could do nothing but accept the death he had received, he attempted one last measure of resistance. He grasped the handle of the weapon sticking out of his chest with both hands, and gritting with his teeth in acute, unearthly pain, he pulled it out.
I gotta use the bathroom. sorry, Canon, but I gotta piss.
I kinda gotta piss too.
Maybe we should piss.
Maybe I should force an ad break to go pee. That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Maybe. I gotta pee, guys. I'll be back.
Oh shit. Oh, he hasn't changed it yet. We'll look at him one last time. We'll remember how he looked before he dies. Shit. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. I'm gonna run a 30-second ad so that it's delayed and doesn't have to play again for a while. Wait, did I ever update my stream title? Am I stupid? Nah, I swear I did. Alright, anyways, BRB.
I'm back, and I don't know if his stream is still taking in audio, but the game I was mentioning was Suisenka, and in Suisenka, yeah, you do get involved in. It's supposed to be like a meta plot twist that's supposed to be like, twist a narrative basically. And obviously, I feel like, of course, Umineko's gonna be pretty meta. I know Higurashi was like, is known to be meta. I actually didn't know much about Umineko before, which is surprising because I play visual novels. Like I knew basically like it was like a second edition of Higurashi, or When They Cry, like another addition to the series When They Cry. But I just never like looked into it because the setting wasn't like my cup of tea. But like now I'm playing it and I do think it's gonna be really interesting. Did you mute the stream? Hello.
Right.
Alright. Did you mute the stream?
No.
Oh, alright.
What'd you do?
I got you to demonetize. No, I'm kidding. I was just talking about the visual novel I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
It was Sui Senka, and that visual novel basically included a lot of meta elements. So I think Umineko is gonna have more meta elements because Higurashi had meta elements.
I'm gonna put my blanket on. Look, my feet are getting cold.
Oh no.
Shit, my earbud fell out. For only a moment, a bright red spray gushed out. Ow. It made an unpleasant bloop sound. It probably resembled the sound of Cannon's soul as it was sucked into the swamp of the dead. Cannon-san, eek. Someone, eek. Kumasawa screamed at the incomprehensible sight in front of her. Ken was lying in a pool of blood. Kumasawa-san's heart was a complete mess. Ah, what a terrible fate. He wouldn't have been killed if I had been with him. Ah, what incredible luck. If I had been with him, I might have been killed too. As she screamed, her expression was filled with complete confusion, as all of her muscle and her face were pulled up, almost as though she was smiling while crying. But no one could have made fun of an expression like this.
What is it? Kumasawa-san, answer me. Kumasawa.
First one to dash in was Natsuhi, holding her rifle. Battler and Genji dashed in after her. If you're going to propose some of the deaths are suicide, that's fine. It doesn't actually solve a lot of problems with the crime scenes.
I don't really think suicide is necessarily the answer. We're speaking of the fact that I think Umineko is gonna do something meta with this plotline and story where a lot of the deaths or a lot of the things are gonna be like, I feel like this is gonna go in the route of like a storybook, similar to Sui Senka, where a lot of the characters are gonna be characters that are similar of playing like roles, certain roles. In Battler, right now what they're presenting is themes of magic versus like rationality. Like Battler is being like, witches don't exist, and Maria is like, witches do exist, Beatrice exists. And this game is trying to give you like two perspectives of like, and trying to confuse what is reality and what is not reality. And really, I don't really trust any of the information currently given to me. But I really do think the game's gonna go in some meta direction that it's gonna...
I just hope... I don't know if the game will do this, but I hope every murder is solvable. Like, that there is a way. I'll be a little sad if it's like magic killed all of them. So I'm like, oh, I wanted to solve the mystery.
No, I don't think that's the case.
I hope it's not.
Well, just because...
Maybe I'm kind of like Battler. Maybe I want to solve the mystery. Maybe I...
I don't think this visual novel is going to go in the direction where the things are unsolvable. I'm sure a lot of the mysteries you do solve are basically like... The mysteries that are solved has to be like, you have to fill in the gaps yourself. I don't think this game is going to necessarily put everything too much on like too forward. I think this game's gonna definitely go in more of a direction where you get to be smart and use your noggin.
I would like that because I feel like other games that have this, like Ace Attorney, I'm sorry, like I played the trilogy. You can kind of sort of solve it, but a lot of it is just such bullshit, man. Danganronpa, I feel like they just kind of give it to you sometimes. So it doesn't really feel like you're solving it.
Trust me, it's magic. I can't tell you how to solve magic.
Like, not that Danganronpa is hard, like the game's easy, but like I feel like they don't let you think for yourself. Like I feel like they just give it to you so easily.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of things you can solve if you just like...
Then Ace Attorney's on the other spectrum where it's so fucking stupid. Great, I have to use a guide because this is fucking hard. It's not based on logic, it's based on bullshit.
pretty sure lots of the things in Umineko will be solvable by just like reading the story. But
Here's-
my current theory, because like we're probably not gonna get a generic murder mystery storyline from Umineko. So what I'm assuming is what's gonna happen is this is like my current theory is canon and like maybe like there's like certain characters in the story that are like playing different roles and we aren't aware of it. I know, for example, that the narrators are definitely unreliable, at least.
Yeah, the narrator thing has been quite
Unreliable.
interesting because we're always swapping perspectives on who the voice of the narrator is. And like I mentioned before, like there was that time where the narrator was talking from Battler's perspective. However, Battler at the time was asleep. So I'm not really sure like if that is intentional or not.
I definitely know the epitaph is not going to be solvable because first,
Here, let's take a look at that.
Jun Sueño doesn't know Japanese.
What are we at here? 6 will be chosen as a sacrifice. Those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. Those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. Okay, bro, that's not our fault. We didn't do anything like that. We didn't push them away. They wanted to go away themselves.
Like, see, I feel like everything's falling into place in order to make it look like to fulfill a certain narrative, like to fulfill the fact that Beatrice does really exist. But things are falling into line too conveniently towards the epitaph. But I feel like the epitaph is not as straightforward as it is, and that you definitely need to use Japanese characters to solve it, which is like unfortunate. This is just like how most puzzles are and most riddles are done in visual novels, which typically I can somewhat guess or solve it with my wits. But the issue right now is that it's in English, and we can't really. We could change it to Japanese, but Jun Sueño is gonna squint and be like,
what is it?
And I don't even think I'm smart enough to even solve the epitaph.
On the
But
third twilight, who shall praise my noble name? Or twilight, gouge the head and kill. Gouge the head. Okay, well I'm a little confused because like the second twilight sounds like it would be Ava and Hideyoshi, but isn't the head Ava and Hideyoshi? It doesn't quite fit exactly. And who yeah, it was 6 who died in the beginning, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it was 6 who died. Maria, sounds like Maria. Yeah, and there's that weird thing.
You think Umineko is gonna have a time loop system?
I mean,
where, like,
considering that the weekend is about to end and we're still on episode 1, like there's no way the story just like continues with whoever survives the night and then the story just keeps going on. I mean, maybe they all escape and then you work with the police to fucking solve it.
No, that's definitely not the fucking direction the story's going into. I feel like, yeah, we're gonna have like another storyline where the thing is like all redone and it's gonna be a battle of wits and it's gonna be probably interesting and hopefully more interesting than the beginning of chapter 1 because goddamn, that was so hard to go through.
You don't need to use Japanese characters to solve the epitaph. You can't solve it in chapter 1. And AZ says they've never solved it. And this is a little confusing because I feel like this isn't even matching what's happening.
I'm talking, it was like parts of the epitaph like had like
Cannon got stabbed in the chest. Ava and Hideyoshi were killed in the head.
It was like, what was the part of the epitaph about like finding the gold, right?
The riddle here, the witch's letter.
Yeah, like it was like, remember it was like something about like
the
there's a
river.
hometown and like
yeah,
that's
this one.
Yeah,
Because they were mentioning different like characters first of all, but like secondly,
Oh no, it's right here.
we don't.
It was the epitaph.
Yes. Cause like here, I don't know. It just feels like something is gonna have some wordplay around there.
My
feel like-
interpretation of this is the Sweet Fish River flowing through the below. That's the Ushirumiya family bloodline. So the
No,
children.
That's too freaking direct. No.
No, we are the Sweet Fish River flowing through the beloved hometown, aka the
I
home.
feel like this is gonna be some Ace Attorney bullshit.
Who are seeking the golden land and the money. Follow the
No.
path downstream to the basement. In search of the key, the friends we meet along the way. They were the key.
The key this whole time. I feel like
And there's a tiny village in the basement. Oh, we never fucking looked. Holy shit. It all makes sense.
there's a little village. I think it's. You know.
Alright, let's continue.
Anyways, I feel like whatever's happening in the store right now is gonna be like, yoinks, joke's on you. The servants were in on it all along.
Normally, they probably would have started discussing the origin of the violent stench filling the boiler room, but after they saw Cannon, who was lying on the ground as if he was drowning in an ocean of his own blood, the stench wasn't important anymore.
Cannon, answer me. Kenji, bring Dr. Nanjo here. I don't fucking trust Dr. Nanjo's fucking autopsy.
He expects the body. He must have died 24 hours ago.
He must have died a couple seconds ago. The blood's warm, probably. It's not like he just came inside the fucking basement and he fucking died. It's not like we just saw him.
Natsuhi realized that even though Cannon was on the verge of death, he was still conscious, so he sent Genji to go get the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Natsuhi...
I forgot.
Yeah, the portrait hasn't changed, so he's still alive.
Oh, there's a
Natsuhi,
chance to live. That's awesome.
holding the rifle aloft, faced the darkness in the corner of the boiler room and shouted,
Who's hiding over there? Come out quietly. If you don't come out from there, I'll shoot without mercy. Oh, we need light. Oh, Nazi, let's light them up.
Battler, thinking quickly, took a large flashlight from the tool shelf alongside the door and used its light to cut through the darkness Natsuhi was glaring into. But the light only shone on mechanical-looking piping and a door. The door had been left open, a small crack. It was obvious that someone had left there in a hurry.
Nazi, where does that door go? Genji, where does that door lead to?
The courtyard.
Oh, I can't let you get away, you damn bastard!
Battler let out a war cry as he slammed into the door. Cool air from outside suddenly rushed in. There was some thin, rough stairs leading up. Battler ran up to them, shouting,
Wait, Battler's coming. It's dangerous to be on your own right now.
Natsuhi was also rushing up the stairs, chasing after Battler. They were in the courtyard. The courtyard of the mansion had been built strictly for lighting purposes, so it wasn't a very elegant place. Because it was surrounded on all sides, the air was calm and completely undisturbed, even though they could hear the sound of the strong winds. There was only the gentle, sorrowful rain. As he ran through the cold and scattered raindrops, dashing up the stairs into the courtyard, Battler looked in every direction. Of course, the odds of him finding someone a suspicious silhouette just standing there nonchalantly was pretty much zero. Battler spun, looking around. He turned again and again. He kept spinning until he almost lost all sense of direction. He prayed that he would see the culprit somewhere in the scenery, but there was no chance. All he saw as he spun was more and more of the mansion's heartless walls and windows. Furthermore, there were two entrances into the mansion from the courtyard, and neither of them were locked. Because the courtyard couldn't be entered from outside the mansion, doors had been built without locks. He didn't know which one they had left through. He had to give up. Battler pounded the wall with his fist, swearing,
lesson, run ahead by yourself.
バトラ君
Half-Life.
Battler pressed his forehead against the wall, which he scratched at his fingernails as he cried.
Jigsaw! Damn it! On Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi! And now Katakun! You killed a full 6 people! And that wasn't enough, so you had to kill 3 more! Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? On Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi were always kind and fun. I just met Cannon yesterday, but I'm sure I would have got a long fight with him. Why did you kill them? Why? You know, when people die, they don't come back to life, right? They're the quickest brought up again like bamboo shoots. Why'd you kill them? Why? Why? Come here.
He said he was going to stop crying.
Oh, well, he's not. It's traumatic for him, man. Let him cry.
Battler was a boy who could understand the feelings of pain and regret in a person's heart, so he cried, with all his strength. Natsuhi, who had always thought of Battler as a frank person, was a little surprised to find this delicate side of him. And at the same time, she understood how easily hurt the heart of a young person could be, so she held him.
It's alright.
あなた
I will definitely protect you. George,
マリアちゃんのジェシカ
and Jessica.
は母として
As a mother
そして
and representative of the Ushiramiya family.
Yeah. Battler, after sobbing into Natsuhi's chest for a while, wiped his tears with a bitter smile, as though he had been like that the whole time, and tried to appear as though he had cried more than enough already.
とにかく一度下に戻りましょう
Let's go back for now.
犯人を探すより
Protecting
自
ourselves
分
is
たち
actually
の
a
身を
prayer.
守る方が最優先です明日になれば船が
Tomorrow,
来る
boat will
そうすれば警察がやってき
After
て
that happens,
全
police
て
will
を白
have
日
everything
の
should
中
be
に
brought
探
to
し
light.
犯人がどう暴こうとも
There's
この
no
島
way
か
a
ら逃
couple
げ
can
られる
escape
もの
this
です
island. No matter how much they struggle. That's right.
警察さ
When the police come.
When the Uminekos cry, the crime will be solved. My eyes are tearing up. Fucking yawning so much. But for some reason, Battler felt a slight sense of uneasiness, as if the Uminekos would never cry again. But that can't be true. It's in the title. The Uminekos will cry. When the typhoon passes, surely the lively Uminekos will return to the harbor again.
It's gonna be a typhoon for like 10 million years. Eternal typhoon, I curse you with wet waters.
I returned to the boiler room along with Aunt Natsuhi and told everyone weakly that we hadn't found anything. We heard from Dr. Nanjo. George Aniki had carried Kanon-kun to the servant room. The servant room had a first aid kit and a sink, and it could apparently function as a nurse's office. Is he dead yet? No.
No.
Kuwasawa-san and Jessica had accompanied them. Stains from Kanon-kun's blood remained on the floor, judging by the large amount of blood loss and the roofless shape of the weapon that had fallen carelessly to the floor. I figured that Dr. Nanjo's treatment would probably end in vain. The weapon was doubtlessly the same type that had been stuck in Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi's foreheads. But wait, isn't that demonic design on the handle a little different? There seemed to be a small difference in that part. Still, as far as their overall shape was concerned, the weapons were still all the same type. Though it seemed brutal, we'd left the weapons stuck in Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi to preserve a crime scene. So this was the first time we were able to have a perfect view of the entire weapon. And we had, as we had expected, the weapon was not bladed like a knife, but it was shaped like an ice pick, or rather a thin stake. And it had a spiral-shaped giron, sort of like a drill. It looked like something that might be driven into the hearts of human sacrifices in some demonic ritual. Including the handle, it was 25 centimeters long. Half of that was the stake-shaped part, which was stained with deep red blood. The length of the blood-stained part made it clear just how deep it must have penetrated into Kanon-kun's chest. But Aunt Natsuhi and the rest didn't look at the weapon, and instead stood in front of the incinerator where the horrible stench was emanating from. They haven't mentioned the hatchet again. So it makes me wonder, is it on the ground? Like, where did the hatchet go?
Nah.
The one
yeah.
Cannon grabbed.
Come on.
But Aunt Natsuhi and the rest... Oh, yeah. They must have dragged it out. Dragged out that thing which had been burning in the furnace. It was smoldering, terrible champion, and kept sending out dense waves of that awfully unpleasant smell. Genji-san and Maria stared down on it. Aunt Natsuhi probably couldn't stand to look directly at it. She kept shaking her head and back to it.
Oh, ooh.
What did Balor ooh?
He oohed.
Okay, when this scene ends, I'm probably gonna stop. After everything that's happened. This is... Ugh. I stood there for a while, moaning with a rising urge to vomit. The true source of that unearthly stench was a scorched corpse that had been cooking inside the incinerator. The clothes, the surface of the body, and the hair were all hideously burned. That grotesque corpse was in a state where not the face, nor the age, nor even the gender could be guessed.
I assumed it was gonna be a burned body.
But when I thought about it calmly, I realized the corpse also appearing at this time could only be one person. It was grandfather, who had been disappeared about that morning, and whose whereabouts had been unknown. I believe it is most likely the master.
Wait, what about the height? Check the height. I agree. He would pass away in such a state. It's heart-ending. Heart-trending?
Heart-rending.
Heart-rending?
Yay, Natsuhi gets all the money. The good ending.
But is there any proof that this corpse is really grandfather? This bird's so black, you can't even tell what the sex is. I would know, Battler. I, professional of boobies. Battler, look at his feet.
Aunt Natsuhi, with her handkerchief over her mouth and her eyes averted, pointed and told me to look at the burnt corpse's feet. What's up with his feet? Does it have his name on it? Notice how there are 6 toes on each foot.
Uh-huh. You're right.
Just as Genji-san had said, there were 6 toes on each foot. Each individual toe had looked so normal that in its line that I hadn't even noticed. He's AI generated.
He is AI generated.
The master was born with 6 toes above her head. Consequently, the master was entrusted with the revival of the Ushumiya family.
I have heard that since long ago, cases of polydactyly.
How do you say the
Polydactyly?
Polydactyly were common in the Ushiromiya family. It's probably hereditary.
Polydactyly means many fingers. Because of a little mistake by God, when a person is born, one of their toes or fingers splits into 2, and the total number increases. But a big deal isn't usually made out of polydactyly in this world at large. That's because it isn't a disease, it's just something people are born with, it's just a genetic defect. While they are still babies, at about the time they are given 1 year old, they can be taken to the hospital and given surgery to make them normal. Even a child with polydactyly can be treated before they become aware. They might even remember it themselves. What if you were born with 7 fingers and then your parents never told you?
My brother had like a bit of extra finger.
A bit of extra finger? What does that mean?
It was like, there was like on his thumb, there was like another finger with like a fingernail popping out. So my mom got like, yeah, my mom had to get, he was born with polydactyly. Now I know the word for that. And then
Holy
my mom
shrimp.
got cut off. Yeah, it's a real thing.
We're like plants, we just keep sprouting.
I know. You
By the way, it seems that there's a possibility for this to occur in 1 out of every 2,000 babies. So even though it's not usually seen, it isn't that rare at all. Speaking of which, I think Ulko Hideyoshi mentioned something to me long ago. Something about how even the Toyota...
Toyota.
Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who unified Japan at the end of the Sengoku period, had 6 fingers on one hand. According to Anatsuki, the one most praised for the wisdoms all had polydactyly. Because of that, when grandfather was born, his relatives were all excited at the thought he might become another wise leader. When the leading relatives all died in the Great Kanto period, it was apparently argued that grandfather should be the one to restore the family because of the auspicious sign of his birth. If grandfather hadn't disliked his position as the head so much, the 6th toe probably would have been pretty lucky for him. Come to think of it, I've heard about some country where it's believed people with polydactyly should be treated as gods and revered.
My
This
little
is-
brother's a god.
This is besides the point, but it's fairly common in mystery novels for a corpse to be burnt to hide its identity. But it's just that... But I guess that in grandfather's case, just toasting him wouldn't be enough. And grandfather's body was not simply burnt. It was just like Aunt Natsuhi. It was just
Girls
like...
the lamento water sound.
It was just like Aunt Ava Uncle here. The cannon's chest. One of those demon ice picks was stuck in his forehead.
指に当主の指輪がありません。
Yubi. That means fingers.
Wait. Check the new death.
Oh. Oh, wait, we didn't... My cannon's still not fucking dead. Holy shit, he's burned all over. Burned in incinerator with a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his forehead. The old sorcerer's wish vanished before it could be granted. He always knew that this was one possible result of his risky gamble. I would say, I know the word Yubi because of Korode.
Meow.
Okay, wait. So he was stabbed in the chest. Or wait. Wait, did they say the head? What did they say?
The head.
Forehead. Bro, there's 3 in the head. This shit doesn't help at all. Gouge the head. And again. And again.
But he's technically brain alive.
So, I mean, I guess if you count the
gouging-
second Twilight as Aunt Eva and
I mean, think about it like gouging is like...
the stab.
I mean, also think of gouging... I always thought gouging your eyes was like a different motion, but... Anyways... It's not like... This is... You can't really assume that, like, the orders of the bodies we found in are, like, really the order of, like, this ritual thing.
Those who remain shall praise my noble name.
And we don't know how long it's been since Kenzo's died. Because he was
He's
missing
been
for a
missing
while.
since like the morning, but it hadn't started smelling until now. But if the corpse was burning since the morning, it definitely would have started smelling sooner. So we can be presumed that at the very least he hadn't been burnt until recently.
Maybe. Actually, I don't know if your body... I know it might smell burnt, but
No, your body only
Maybe.
smells when it decomposes.
maybe not as putrid as they thought it was. Maybe it takes a bit more... Because, like, I feel like to burn a human body has to be, like, a really high temperatures. That's why cremation is, like, you know...
Yeah.
So, to probably burn this person's body, probably. I don't know. I'm not smart. I don't want to solve this anymore. I want to keep reading. I'm not smart, guys.
The head's ring is not on his finger.
昨夜の手紙の通りということですか。
So the letter last night was telling the truth.
お父様。
Father would probably be horribly disappointed.
Natsuhi-san let her head droop
Understand it.
and closed her eyes tightly. The room had also become a vital crime scene for us to hand over to the police. It was decided that we would leave grandfather's corpse here and lock the room, sealing it. It isn't clear when grandfather's corpse started burning in the incinerator, since according to Genji, the strength of the flames hadn't been that strong. The body must have started burning a long time ago. Really? That stench could slowly creep out of the furnace and fill up the room bit by bit, eventually pouring out and climbing up the staircase. Putting aside whether he was rare or well done, Grandfather had been brought out, killed, and burnt, even though he started locked away in a closed room crib. There's probably no doubting this. However, according to Genji-san, the boiler room is usually locked. The possibility that somebody outside her group had snuck in and committed the crime was overwhelmingly high. There was also a good chance that the person was walking around with something like a master key. After all, the door and the windows locked throughout the mansion have been locked. But despite that, the culprit was able to strut around the mansion freely. We stop here? I think we should.
It was
Creepy as fuck music
magic.
playing.
Magic did it. I can't tell you how, because if I tell you how, it'll ruin the magic.
Why isn't he fucking dead yet?
Cause bro is still alive, fighting for his life on that fucking hospital bed, bro. Wait, there's film noises playing.
Where?
Umineko's a fucking play. Like, you know, whenever the thing closes, it makes sounds like a scene's closing.
That sounds like a door closing to me.
Really? Sounds like when
Like
you're
a creaky
turning
door.
off, like, sounds like when you're turning. Well, still, I feel like this vibe gives off so much like book vibes or like movie vibes. Something you see in a play. It might be the.
Oh.
I swear to God, it's going.
I did miss I missed the message. Great point. Couldn't seem to disappear in the morning. Thinking about when he died is a different question. Yeah. I feel like even if they burnt it slowly, I mean, it's quite the coincidence that we started smelling it. Like, so we found Aunt Ava, and then Cannon died. Or sorry, and then it started smelling, and then Cannon died. Like a lot just happened recently. It's very, not really sure when or how long it would take to burn, but I guess it was for a while according to Genji. But I mean, I guess they can see how strong the flames are, so everybody else can confirm. This wishes to finish up chapter 1. There's 2 mini chapters between each chapter too. Oh boy.
Oh.
You hear that? Mini chapters where we have to read and wait for stuff to happen again.
I hope the mini chapters aren't as long.
Freaky
Like
old
an
door.
hour.
Yeah, it does seem like a door. But I think the film sound you're thinking of, I know what you're talking about, but it sounds a little different.
Still, I think my theory's right. Don't crush my dreams. Cause what I'm thinking is like, even if it's not like a book or like a actual play, like in a literal sense, how it's setting it up is like, this is gonna be like someone trying to fulfill a role of some sort, if that makes sense.
Chapter
like
1 is the longest chapter. Okay. Thank God.
I see. I feel like Beatrice is a role, if that makes sense. I feel like Shannon is hella suspicious too.
So we know you hate her.
I don't hate her. I never hated her.
You
I
want
just
her to
find
be the killer.
I literally do not know anything about her character aside that she's 16, okay? Aside that George wanted to marry a 16-year-old according to the freaking plot. But whatever. But I have much suspicion on Shannon, just in canon. I feel like their characters, sure, there's just like something feels significant about them that isn't just more than just like Kinzo's furniture. Like even it's the first chapter, so like they don't have much screen time and it feels like they're insignificant.
Do you
But
think
there's obvious like there's like a sort of rebellion in canon that like feels like he stands out more than with Shannon. There's just something off about the fact that I didn't get to see her. We didn't get to directly, aside from like the relatives, didn't get to see her face during the murder. And then also like the fact that she's just like something about her feels like she's just like she was just like fulfilling like this like kind like role. There wasn't like anything weird or off about her.
we all know it's actually Goda. It's him.
Fucking- it was Goda the whole time, bro. Bro, just imagine Goda is like actually more significant than just being the servant. That'd be awesome, dude. And then
Godorichi.
it's like, man, why couldn't it be Natsuhi-sama that died? Canon says. And then if Natsuhi-sama did die, what if it was Goda who fucking lived, bro? That'd be awesome. Just imagine Goda's like, well, breakfast is ready, guys, and like, come on, bro. I don't know. Shannon's mighty suspicious. Something about the marriage scene.
Oh, you wrote a
feels-
fan game where Goda had a big part. That's really interesting. Anyway, I was just
Is
thinking
that
like,
shit-
I just replace Canon's character of Goda. Just have him do like the same actions.
Goda? It's just. Well, then it's just Goda's the main character, significant character. I feel like Goda is just so like, he was like low-key kind of annoying. He was like stuck up. He was like, fuck you servants, I don't like you guys.
I'm not like you
I'm,
guys.
I'm not like you guys. I was a chef at a restaurant and I'm happy to serve.
It was interesting, in a way.
What a funny character. I wonder if he'll be important at all.
I wonder if this is gonna come up again. It's gonna be like, it turns out Goda was Beatrice the whole time.
Alright.
Ah, you fools.
It is 3:20 in the morning.
It is indeed late for you.
I do have to be going to bed. We can continue. I don't know. Are you free tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm free tomorrow. Usually
Alright.
Saturdays I'm busy because I go outside. for
Good
the first
night.
time
Thanks
in
for sticking by with us for past hour or so, JDC, and thank you for following. We will definitely Umi like usually every night for at least an hour. Unfortunately, I'm a little busy, so we can only do about an hour at a time usually.
Yeah, I'm also really busy. And we have like time zones, you know?
Yeah.
We're like 3 hours apart, and because we're 3
Oh,
hours
yeah.
apart.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream. Thank you for watching. You only watch Twitch when you're working? Yeah, that's how I use Twitch as well, pretty much. But
you should,
thank
like,
you for...
Awesome gamer outro. Like,
Yeah, my awesome gamer outro. Thank you for watching. For the Umis.
Umi
And
deck.
hopefully we're able to stream again tomorrow. So, good night.
I just hope one of my theories is right, because I'm gonna feel like dumb if Shannon is like at